contest with you now. I'm going to go ahead and show you how. This is Andy to win a tournament contest and basically how to create top 10% winnings. As you can visit my site here if you'd like to get more information. I'm going to update this from the baseball now. It's been into football season and going ahead and doing that. But first, looking at a contest in FanDuel here, one that did well because it was in the top. I did a calculation here, percentage-wise, about 6.8%, 6.9% to be exact, rounded off. Scored 135 points this particular week. It was week 5, I believe. So here we see that I took a low-end quarterback who got me enough points. I teamed him up happened to be with a stack with a wide receiver, a deep ball threat with Curse. And I can tell you from the looks of this here, I had chosen 1, 2, 3, 4 stud players, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. So what I'm going to do is attempt to duplicate this, but even make it even better so that I can get higher up in this contest. Since I finished here with a $1 investment, $4 winnings. Again, as you can see right here, it was 14,000 out of a whole lot of people, 208. So that's how you can take something the low risk, invest very low, but then have great returns on that particular invest. So how I come up with, first of all, my stud players is going in here, draft dashboard, but you can also submit to receive that back on this site here when you just opt in. It'll go over this information and valuable tips and how to go about strategies for getting players such as these and figuring out if you take time to go over players such as this particular example from the same week, a player's standard deviation as well as a coefficient variable. Now this goes into detail, dives into that. We're not going to go all into that right now, but this tells you the amount of work that all these players on this list here had either that particular week 100 yards and or a touchdown for that week, able to produce a lot of good numbers for your fantasy that week. So just showing you some of the evidence. And this, in fact, was from week 6, this particular week, of my position rankings breakdown posted. Okay, so that was on wealthyfantasyfootball.com. And so looking at the stud players that I need to consider here, here's a list of them. Low risk, proven, along in terms of the value of the consistency of what you get here with the low coefficient variable and also many times a low standard deviation. So when you do actual calculations of these numbers, and you can do that at calculator.net, that just goes into more detail over here after opting in and receiving that free report right in your email box. But these are some of the stud players that also fall in line with that philosophy in winning contests. So I'm thinking about just choosing 4 stud players like Elliott and McCoy at running back, and then Green. Also, we'll do quarterback Wentz. So we'll still do that as a base starting lineup for our team this coming week of week 7. So what I'm going to do first, though, is just go to my watch players and get rid of these guys that I actually watched from last week. I'm going to clear that watch list, right? So that is done. Now I can come right back over to my studs or most consistent performing fantasy players. No risk involved here, as we'll go ahead and watch these particular guys that we want. This will give us a real targeted lineup. Okay, and that's simply how you choose your 4 players out of your lineup. So then what you can do is just get a sense of your top players of the week that could also do very well for you, even though not necessarily studs. It could be, but we're just looking at some of the top players of the week based on, first of all, matchup. That's his column right here. As we let that load. But also you want to look at this in some detail, receiving targets per game, which you want to be at least for wide receiver 7, and rushes that can vary depending on how many targets they also receive out of the backfield. But if you can get 20 touches for a running back, you're doing okay as far as choosing a player there. And then meeting that criteria, you come over here and sort this out. As I can see here, the worst matchup, defensive rank, is happens to be Kareem Hunt. So looking down our list, there's some of those players, but we're looking for some of the best to be in green. Okay, so how do we fill out our roster here? We can look at possibly taking Demaryius Thomas with a very good matchup against Kansas City. I know that defensive backfield is probably still not performing well after the Barry injury, and also we do have LeGarrette Blount after a short week. That's a possibility there. Let's see. Benny Fowler, he's projected to maybe get 5.5 points, which I wouldn't recommend in a large contest. Got Wendell Smallwood looking good here, playing a good defense. I mean, a bad defense, a good matchup, and so forth. So we get some really good ideas of some of the players that we want to also consider for this week. So we're just going to watch some of these guys. And there's a low-cost option right there, Brandon LaFell, we can look at. Okay, also like this guy here for the upside as a young player, Mixon, okay. So now some of those guys out of the way. You can also set your time slate, of course, and change that as you like to whatever lineup you're looking at. So we're going to go ahead and enter a contest here. Here, check this out. There's a free contest. It's like a gift certificate, just to look out for stuff like that. So it's got some value to it. Out of 300,000 people, so let's try it out. See how high we can finish, because you want to finish in the top, whatever percentage is winning. So that varies, but I'd like to estimate maybe in the top 10% to be most of the time in profit. What was that here? Okay. So let's take our studs over here that we like. Coy. I think we're decided on Wentz as a good value, so that we can play around with other positions at wide receiver here, and trying AJ Green, and looking at what other value players we can find. As you can see here, we're down already $5,240 per player. What I'd like to do next is I do want to ensure that I get a good defense. So looking at defenses here, just to help ourselves out, we'll go to according to position optimizer. Pick out a defense. And you can sort these out according to the best matchups versus whatever offense. Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Indianapolis, and the Saints at home. I like the Saints and what potential they bring right now in the tournament, especially because they can score a lot of points as we've seen a couple weeks ago. So let's go with them. Okay, we're doing good. Only 4,800 spent there. So I got to pack some punch into this lineup, right? Let's see how we can do that. We need to find some sleepers to fill out the roster. Under 6,500, great. Let's see. Specifically, we need a position of wide receiver. Nelson Agholor, he can possibly get us 9 points projected. Wow, that would be awesome, right? Sanu, we know he doesn't score a lot of points according to his game logs and so forth here shown, so we're not worried about him. We will need a tight end, right? Let's look at a couple of these options. Witten or Henry, who might be best? The algorithm shows Witten to be better by 4 points at a 100 dash rank. He has put up some decent numbers. He even had a 20-point game, as we can see here. And Hunter Henry, he has not had that high of a game. I'm going to go with Witten. And then I got 3 more spots to fill out. Where's Witten? Never thought I'd be going with him this year, as old as he is. And here we go now with a couple more receivers to pick out. Oh, we got to pick Agholor, right? At 6,000. I don't remember who our kicker was. Tell you what, we're going to go ahead and optimize a perfect or our best lineup. The lineup optimizer right here. A lot of people have won with this using this optimizer by itself. You can go to it if you want and do a free trial at Draft Dashboard, or just going through the DFS free report, get-free-access as well. Okay, so who is it suggesting here for a kicker? Jake Elliott. We could go with that. Here's our guy Agholor suggested. Sanu, he would do fine in a cash contest, but this is a tournament because he does get consistent lower end value. And we saw our guy Mixon there. So we have some interesting guys. Antonio Brown always consistent if you can fit him into your lineup. So look and see how much we have left and what we can do. 5,000 a player. How much is that kicker? 4,800. So we just go down to the 4,800 range. Makes it easy to find the guys, right? There he is for Cincinnati. I don't know. He plays for San Francisco, I believe. Okay. Plug him in. And then we have how much left for the wide receiver? 5,200, right? We got to find a cheap upside receiver for 5,200. Not easy, but it can be done. Let's see. We just need to go specifically back to our position optimizer to get our last value play here. Go to wide receiver. I'm doing this pretty quickly. If you're really thinking about how much time it's taken to build a lineup here, we've been on this So just about 15 minutes now, sorting through guys. We do have to go according to price here. So what can we do? We can organize according to the prices on FanDuel. Set on FanDuel and not DraftKings right now, of course, just to show you that, and look to see who is in that 52 range. These guys right here. And we can see right away, this guy here, Doctson, he has the best matchup. The best versus a pretty decent or easy defense rather in Dallas, and has the best, even has the best dash rank, and has put up some numbers. But just in case though, remember this is a big, large size tournament. Is there any player that can or has proven to put up higher numbers than him, such as Lockett? As we see all the scoring logs here. And we have someone that has Kenny Stills, but it's not a great matchup versus Baltimore. For that defense, I wouldn't really take that. So we haven't been really gotten a lot of Taylor Gabriel, except one good game this year. And see, Doctson brings the upside of being a young receiver that's being looked to more now, and that offense. And so I will take a shot at him. I like him better than Lockett as well. So we'll go with Doctson at 5,200. Okay, so that completes our lineup, and we'll see how it does this week, how high it scores and the percentage-wise, and analyze those numbers later on.